Hello.
Hello,
Welcome to another wonderful episode of Metal Gear University.
I am T.
And I am Kay. And this is the last episode of 2024.
Woo! We did it.
We did it.
Whole year.
Whole year. We're ending Metal Gear Solid 3 today.
It's like we planned these things.
It's the way things work out. It's so beautiful. It feels very final. And I'm excited for the list of 201 episodes that we've created. We actually planned it out already, the next couple episodes.
Yeah, we actually have a Google Doc of like 15 episodes. We're not doing 15, but we got a good amount that we want to talk about. And we hope that you all are ready for some cool 201s before we tackle 4.
I think it's a nice break for us. Mm-hmm. And it gives us some variety to talk about. We have some ideas of...
Yeah, and like, it's not that we don't like talking about the mainline titles, but I feel like it gives us a little bit more variety, and then we can get into some nitty gritty about like overall themes and ideas, shit like that, you know?
We started off with the YouTube channel, didn't we? With creating really in-depth.
Yes.
So it's kind of like leaning into that.
I have to do that video.
No, I mean, I didn't mention that to bring that up. I'm just thinking
I remembered myself. I'm like, I have to finish that goddamn video.
It's not a goddamn video. It's a beautiful video.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's just that I feel like the podcast has really taken the front seat, and I'm trying to get the YouTube going, but like I am only but one person.
Yeah, we're a little stretched in regards to. I feel like we can't add any more to our plate.
No, I will fall apart. I can't do that.
We were thinking, we were talking about Death Stranding today because it's actually one of our like intro topics. Another thing related to that. Mm-hmm. But with Death Stranding, we'd love to cover Death Stranding, but this is a Metal Gear podcast. So would that even be acceptable?
I mean, we're called Metal Gear University. I mean, we're not like Kojima University. Mm-hmm. I would be down. Like, let's say when we cover the Metal Gear titles and we kind of like the 201s kind of run their course. Maybe we switch gears and we do like other Kojima titles, or maybe we talk about other games entirely.
On the same podcast or a new podcast?
I would maybe like a form of rebranding. But this is down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have so many ideas, and I want to talk about like Alan Wake as well. And
oh man, no. A podcast like ours would benefit highly. like our structure of doing things. I feel like we could really dive deep into Alan Wake.
Do you think you understand Alan Wake yet?
No, I legit, I feel like I need to play all the games at least 2 more times before I like have like a grasp and like say with some confidence about what's happening. But I would love to talk about Alan Wake in detail.
It's funny we bring up Alan Wake because tying that into Death Stranding, one of our main things that we wanted to bring up today is Twin Peaks. The reason we want to bring it up, watch it.
It is so cool.
Honestly, we found out recently after we just finished season 2, and a quick little Google search, we saw that Kojima made his team watch Death Stranding before.
Watch Twin Peaks?
Sorry, Kojima made his team watch Twin Peaks before starting on Death Stranding, I believe. Or maybe while production was happening. But Twin Peaks is something that really inspired Alan Wake and Sam Lake to think about. I'm not really that familiar with Death Stranding, but to think about he wanted his team to see that going into creating the game. David Lynch is a phenomenal talent, and I would love to pick all of those apart and see where like they line up and where they match up.
I would love to like dive deep into those ideas.
You look speechless.
No, because I mean, for those who are listening, we literally just watched the season 2 finale of Twin Peaks like earlier today, and I feel like I'm still digesting what I saw. Like it was like, I feel like midway through season 2, it was turning kind of, I don't want to say like normal, because Twin Peaks was like barely ever normal, but the last like 5 episodes of season 2 is like, you could understand where Sam Lake got the inspiration for Alan Wake. It's almost to a T what what happens in Alan Wake happened in Twin Peaks.
It's one of those pieces of media, kind of like Metal Gear, where you have to play it again, watch it again in order to really not only catch things that you're missing, but it's just, you're not going to understand the first time. Like, I know after we finish the entirety of Twin Peaks, I'm going to have to rewatch everything again.
Oh, yeah. Same.
But off the top of your head, as far as like Twin Peaks inspiring Death Stranding or any kind of relation to it, can you even think of?
For Death Stranding in particular?
I mean, you know what? It's hard for me to ask you because we just finished the season 2 finale earlier. So for you to still digest that and then see how it correlates.
Oh.
Hold off. That'll be for later.
Okay.
But it's so like, if you're going to start the new year off right, start it off with some good content. Hopefully we'll get some news about Delta. You can fill the gaps with Twin Peaks. Fill the gaps with Twin Peaks. Fill it with Alan Wake. Some nice, eerie, unnerving.
Yeah, no, the last episode of Twin Peaks, like, I don't want to say it was like a horror episode, but like it had elements. It was like,
no, I would say it was horror. It was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like the hairs on my arms are standing up now. It was just, it's phenomenal. And I think too, considering Kojima's just so well versed in media and like thinking about like the analysis we do now, it's hard to do analysis when you don't consume other types of media or you don't engage with other art forms. So I would say for all of you, like even like Kojima himself on Twitter, he always lists what movies he's watching, what he's listening to. One, it'd be cool to expand your taste and watch that, but it kind of gives you a vision into what he's thinking or doing.
That's true. It gives you a window to the madness that's in his mind. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, I was inspired. For those who have watched Twin Peaks, and for those who haven't, I'll explain. There's a particular sandwich that appeared in Twin Peaks. The sandwich consists of brie and butter
on
a baguette, and that is it. I always wondered what this sandwich would taste like. So I have in front of us, Kay, a plate of the very sandwich that appeared on Twin Peaks.
Brie and butter.
Now they're not
brie and butter.
They're not huge. They're not huge sandwiches. I made it small in case we thought it was shit and we didn't waste that much brie. But it is the same size of the brie that we see in the show. It is a baguette. It is good quality brie. We
are very easily influenced.
We are. Well, like, okay, hear me out. All right, this is just so weird. And the ingredients are so simple to get.
Honestly, if you want to get us, just show us something really weird and we're hooked.
Yeah. So, I thought it would be cool if we tried it out in front of all of you.
So, if we don't like it, they're probably not going to like Twin Peaks.
Probably not, no.
So, this is not a... Oh, this is heavy, okay.
Okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I'm not gonna lie.
It's actually... I hate that I like this.
I would not order this, but I can see myself craving it and making it at home.
It's actually kind of nice.
Brie and butter is just a weird flavor combo.
But like with the baguette, it kind of like everything's like creamy, and the baguette kind of like adds a little bit of crunch.
The texture.
Yeah, the texture is nice.
I think that's what carries a lot of it. The texture, the creaminess with the nice hard bread. And then when you actually taste the flavors, it's just savory. Mm-hmm. Watch Twin Peaks. Sandwich is good. Show is good. You enjoying this sandwich, aren't you?
It's actually really good. I feel weird for saying that it's good.
I'll let you finish before we continue.
No, go on.
I want to keep this intro short and sweet just because it's the last episode of the year. I want to get going with Metal Gear Solid 3, and I have nothing more to say than just thank you, and we hope we continue showing you what we can do. We want to keep giving these good episodes, these nice thorough episodes, and then like some fun, maybe little creative stuff as well.
Yeah, some levity.
So definitely thank you for listening and checking us out. Definitely check out the YouTube. Definitely reach out. We've made a lot of friends and I've spoken to new people because of this. Always feel free to contact us and just say hi. It really means a lot to see people pop up on Twitch too.
Yeah, no, that's always like a little treat to be like, oh, I love your podcast. I'm like, oh my God, that.
So let us know. But I mean, T, anything else you want this last episode? I mean, we'll probably do something at the end of the episode too. Another little.
Yeah, another little goal section.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as of for right now, I just hope that we continue to do this and we continue to meet cool people, form relationships, and just continue on, you know? I'm very grateful that we're doing this and that we're doing it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready to finish this game off?
Yes.
Let's do it, T.
But first.
Last pop quiz of the year.
Yeah!
Let's go.
So, Kay, I have devised 5 questions for you.
Ooh, 5.
5 questions that I definitely wrote without you in the room. All right, question number 1. What does snake attach? Let's try that one more time. Question number 1.
The tension is building.
What does snake attach the C3 to in the Shagohod hangar?
Doesn't he attach it to like the oil not gaskets, but like it's like oil tanks of the Shagohod?
I will give it to you. It is the rocket
Fuel.
The rocket fuel.
That's what I meant. I am correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it to you.
The oil.
Okay. It's okay.
Question number 2.
In short, explain the philosopher's legacy.
Isn't the philosopher's legacy, this one I do know, it's basically a list of like the bank transactions and of like all the different companies where they pull all the different countries where they pull their money, and like they have like offshore accounts, and then like it gives you the kind of like the quote unquote coordinates to where that money is being held.
Yes. You did it. That is the physical manifestation in the microfilm.
So the microfilm is just a list of like
bank transactions.
So it just tells you where everything is, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess in a way it's kind of like a treasure map. Like you follow those transactions and then
it's where it leads, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ding ding ding.
You got it.
Thanks, T.
You're welcome.
2 for 2.
See, you know what you're talking about. Question number 3. What is the Sorrow doing during Volgan's monologues?
We're talking about like the end of the game, right?
Yes.
The Sorrow, when you click R1, I think it's the only way you can see him when you like focus in that viewer, first person viewer. He's holding up a codec. No. He's holding up that was a different one. He's holding up like a timer, isn't he? It's a timer for something to blow up or in like other stuff. I'm trying to wait. Volgan's monologue. You know what? My final answer, it's a timer for when the C4 is gonna explode.
Technically, it's when the C3 explodes. So you're wrong. No, I'll take it. You're right. I will give you half.
Half credit.
Because actually, it was C3,
The
not
C3.
C4.
Sorry, it's not it's not there yet.
Yeah, I'm one of those teachers.
I got nervous. I was questioning myself because earlier in the game he was holding up the codec, right?
Yeah, for the
frequency for the gate.
cell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was getting. Sometimes you gotta just go with your instinct.
You gotta go what you got. Sometimes you had it.
I had it. I was looking at you and you weren't giving any emotion, so it was just basically a mirror back to my own feelings.
Question number 4: True or false? Ocelot tells Volgan to fight like a warrior.
We had a whole little tangent with this one. It's false. Ocelot told Volgan to fight like a man.
Yeah.
Am I?
Oh, yeah, you're correct.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
We had a whole little tangent with this and kind of, we were kind of trying to see if we can tell if Volgan was feeling some kind of
way.
Yeah, if there was some machismo in his personality or if he was really harmed by that. I'm still on the fence if we're forcing it. But there are certain lines that make you like think.
Yeah.
The boss's fairy line, and then you have fight like a man Vogan, and
Yeah, there's a certain level of machismo that these characters are exuding towards each other. And I feel even if we're off base, I like discussing it. It is one of those things where even if we're wrong overall, the discussion in and of itself is a cool discussion to have. And that's why you guys are listening, right?
yeah. And I'm also right.
You are right. Question number 5. How did Ocelot and the gang find out that Eva was a spy?
How did they find out? You see, we watched Inglourious Basterds the other day, and I'm like mixing the two right now. Oh, how did they find out? They found out she was a spy because she was snooping around Vogan's office, and they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then they found, I think, the Philosopher's Legacy on it because she had took it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you get bonus points for something that gave her away.
Something that gave her away. She smelled like oil. Wasn't it? It wasn't the perfume. She smelled like something.
Yes.
She smelled like the gas from her motorcycle, didn't she?
Yeah, ding ding ding. You got it.
Wait, does that count? Because you kind of like led me on.
What did I say?
Okay. Is gas and oil not the same thing?
They're different.
What do you put in your car?
Gas.
What's oil?
Oil is like raw. Like gas is like refined.
I went to grad school.
like if you look at oil is like this thick black liquid.
Oh.
Gas is like clear.
You see, to me, the crude oil, like I'm thinking about Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm not used to seeing that, so my mind doesn't even consider that. Okay, that's the dinosaur bones, right? The oil?
Yeah.
Okay. So she smelled like gas.
Mm-hmm.
Because from her motorcycle traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew, what is that, 4.5 out of 5?
I'll give it to you.
It's funny because watching Inglourious Basterds the other day, I was mixing up the English spy they had.
Oh,
I was about to say, but
the English spy. Oh, the 3.
The 3 in that bar scene. I was about to mix that up.
I thought you were talking about that other one where I forget, Hans Landa.
I think it's his name.
Where he puts the shoe on that one. He's like,
Oh.
what is it they say? If the shoe fits, you must wear it. And then he just go. Anyway.
Great movie. But yeah, I was mixing it, and it's kind of a similar. No, that's earlier than this game. That's 1944, and this was.
I think it took place in 41.
41, yeah, and this game is 64. No.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, T, that's the last pop quiz of the year. Thank you for writing up these questions. We were kind of splitting up the write up for this episode, so I appreciate that. They're pretty good.
Of course.
And obviously, everyone listening got 100%. They did better than me without being led on, so good job, guys. T, are you ready to finish off this game?
I am.
Let's begin.
Yeah.
So, T, we're reaching the end point of this game. We're reaching the end of this game.
Yeah,
not the boss.
Not the boss.
The end.
The end.
The final parts, the final moves of this game. Vogan's already dead. He was the big bad.
Yeah, he was the big bad of this game, and we defeated him.
He's dead and gone.
Horribly, I might add.
We'll never see him again.
Yeah, he'll never be there. He's on fire, and I'm sure he won't.
That he'll remain in that state, and he'll be dead forever.
I'm sure.
But as we know, Snake has to escape with Eva, and then he still has that one final mission.
To kill Mom?
To kill... We gotta kill Mom.
Okay.
I do like, and we mentioned it a minute in the previous episode, when talking about this final mission, everybody in your team, like paramedic, Zero, they kind of avoid it. They avoid discussing.
It's like the elephant in the room. Like, everybody's so concentrated on defeating the Shagohod, defeating Volgan, defeating every other boss, doing everything else in this mission, and then everyone's like, we gotta do this one little thing. But anyway,
you have one more thing to do, Snake. Remember, we'll call you back later. For now, before thinking about that, we can just enjoy this moment. And Snake does enjoy this moment. Him and Eva hug.
Yeah, they hug, and Vulcan's fucking body emits fireworks from the bullets.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So they have like this scene that looks romantic, but then it's funny to look at that and realize that in the background, Vulcan is not having a good time.
No, Vulcan's...
He's probably getting shot like 50 times a second right now.
But at least we can see this embrace, and I think this is really the first moment in which is a consensual feeling of affection between them.
Yeah, I feel like Snake has really grown to express his feelings towards Eva.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we expressed it or not in the last episode, but they had a moment right before they fought the Shagohod where Snake was like, Eva, let's do it. And then they share a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that this is like the first time Snake has gotten a kiss from Eva and like wanted it, you know?
Yeah, she was very heavy with the affection and the... she was very forward.
Yeah.
In all their previous encounters, but this one you could see that he's almost wanting it or needing it, and then especially needing it from her. So it's nice, but sadly, it's not a long moment.
No.
Because all the guards from before...
They found a way around. Like, apparently there was another way around that bridge, and they're on their way. And this time, they have their little hovercraft things.
What is that called? Do you...
No, oh, God. I think it might have been like episode 3 or 4 where we talked about it, and I forget the model. It was like it was an actual thing that we made. Why don't we have that, man?
I don't think it... It looks cool, practicality of it. Like, it's probably so easy to shoot down.
I don't care.
They don't move that fast, probably.
Look, you know what? For military purposes, okay, fine. Maybe it's impractical, but why can't I have one? I want it.
So they... well, they have it, and they made their way to Eva and Snake. And so this chase sequence we just finished, it continues.
Yeah, it's more or less the same thing, only this time it's in a more woodland environment.
You're still making your way to the wig that Eva has prepared, and you're... Thankfully, there's no big threat of Vulcan. And
yeah, it's just a more or less chase sequence again. You are going through like this big woodland area. The motorcycles are after you. The hovercrafts are after you. There's guard encampments that are trying to block you off.
It's so cute to see Eva driving and like little Snake in his sidecar.
I want to be in a sidecar one day.
I'm telling you, that idea we had, like the roller coaster idea where it's a
I legit think that it would be a cool roller coaster.
It'd be pretty cute. It reminds me of, we watched which Indiana Jones movie, and it looked like that.
Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, and it looked, because weren't they in like they were in like a desert type, weren't?
No, they were in like a wooded area, not like a jungle area, but it was a wooded area.
It reminded me of that, so I wonder if like that was also.
I mean, I would be shocked if Kojima wasn't inspired by because like Indiana Jones is like one of like the movies of like the late 80s. So Kojima being a movie head, he probably saw that at least like once or twice.
I feel like my mind, I'm so focused on like him being inspired by like James Bond, even like the way the game started and the way kind of this espionage is kind of detailed. I feel like I'm so hooked on thinking like, okay, James Bond, but there is some Indiana Jones elements to it.
It's funny to that you mentioned that, because at the time, I don't know if it was as heavily discussed now as it was back then, but people said that Indiana Jones was America's response to James Bond.
Really?
Because like if you think about it, outside of James Bond being recast every couple of movies, it's kind of the same formula if you look at it, where you have James Bond, which represents like this like British masculine man going on these adventures, right? Indiana Jones, if you look at it, is the same thing, only the main character represents American ideals. Like what is Indiana Jones? He's like this like rough and tough cowboy looking guy.
Yeah, true. I never heard that argument. That's pretty interesting.
Anyway, we are getting really sidetracked right now.
I mean, I think it was just, you can see the inspiration from that film in this. And it was very much that this chase sequence, it's just a heavy part of this of this game.
Yeah.
Okay. The chase is just a very heavy part of this last section. And it's hard not to see the little elements that he took from Indiana Jones, from James Bond. So it's also a reference to Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yes, it's the same climax with Meryl and Snake leaving through the Shadow Moses hangar.
And it's like the same thing. You have people chasing you, right? Like it's you stop there's little encampments where you have to like fight through.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to go really deep with it, it's the same as the Metal Gear 2 ending where you escape with Holly.
That is true.
It's like poetry. You know, it rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. I mean, why mess with something that isn't broken? If it's a good story, then
Yeah, there are certain beats that happen in Metal Gear games that kind of like happen in every game, and this is one of them. It's like that big ending sequence, you know.
So you continue on, and Snake notices that the gas tank, not the oil tank, the gas tank of
Yes.
the motorcycle is shot.
Yes.
So Eva peers her beautiful little face over to look at it too. And it's, of course, at this moment,
Right when you take your eyes off the road.
one moment, they run into, what, a log?
Yes. They run into a log on the road, and they hit it, and then they careen, and then they fall off. It looks like a small cliff. Perfect.
Thrown from the motorcycle
Perfect.
pretty violently. And to add insult to injury, or add injury to injury, Snake is fine.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's fine. He walks up to Eva, who's like laying, she's kind of like sitting on her, she's just sitting down, and she's impaled by like a tree branch or just like a piece of tree.
Yeah.
Just through her abdomen. And Jesus Christ, does it look terrible.
The fact that Snake says later that no internal organs were pierced, and that is a goddamn miracle. It looks like it would have like pierced her like intestines or something.
Think about that. No internal organs were pierced, which tells you that it pierced her skin, but in a way that it didn't hit anything. It went through.
Yeah, it went completely through. If I was to guess, and I don't know if this is physically possible, but like maybe this branch, when it was going through Eva, it was going through her intestines, and then maybe it just kind of like shuffled the intestines
Or
aside.
maybe it just hit like a side of her. No, it was in her.
No, it was in.
Oh my god.
So like I know that like your intestines in you, they're just kind of floating there.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking that they just kind of pushed themselves out of the way as
Woo!
this thing was going through her.
Yeah, because she's bad. Like there's a portion where she has to like, it's like that movie, like a movie scene where she has to like move herself slowly to remove the branch from her stomach, and she's not doing well. Like this
No,
is
not at all.
This is not something that you can really easily heal with like a little patch or like a little band-aid.
She needs like surgery.
And she's visibly stumbling and coughing up blood. Like you are, your escape route. It's slowly kind of. Your plan is, what's it called?
Unraveling.
Unraveling. Snake is fine though.
Yeah, he's cool.
He could have just left her.
Well, you know, he can't fly the wig by himself.
He definitely can't fly the wig, and he tells Eva this because she's sitting there and she's like so smitten by him, and she's just so hurt and in pain, and he's there looking at her. He's like, Eva, I need you. She's like,
Say that one more time.
I need you. I can't fly the wig by myself.
and she just starts laughing, and it's
Because oh my god, it's so funny. Like Snake is so dense. Like even at this point where he's kind of like more receptive to Eva, he's so dense.
they shared that kiss but a few moments ago. So she probably was feeling real good about herself. She was like, I got a man, he's cool, he likes me. And she's here bleeding out. He's just like, you need to drive that wig.
You gotta drive that wig, girl.
Get up. And so the I need you was like, no, I actually need you for a task, not you as a person.
No offense.
I don't really know you, Eva, but she's smitten. Because to me, I always think about like if she's a spy or like her role. This is just the two of them. So in her last moments, maybe she thinks like, maybe this is it. I'm dying out. If she's sitting there bleeding out and wanting to hear "I need you," she has a level of care for him. It can be completely an act.
Yeah. I mean, like, you see it in her eyes. Like, even with these PS2 models that they have. Like, her eyes are, like, literally shaking. Out of all the feelings that she has for Snake, like, you can see how much passion that she has for him right now.
And he, dense as always, is like, "I need you," and it kind of, I feel like, brings her back to her senses. Like, she's like, "Okay, let me get up. Let's get going. There's no time for romance." And honestly, throughout the entire game, there's really no moment for romance.
No,
Like,
not really.
So it's kind of like, let's
Well, maybe a little bit during the cave.
that brief moment when they were both
A little bit.
drying off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
But that was, like, really the only moment.
But yeah, even this one too. You have the soldiers on their tail.
Oh, yes.
They probably saw you eat shit.
Yes. In fact, they did. Because the soldiers are on their way.
So they're probably like, okay, they obviously are harmed. They're probably like, they're gonna be like, let's go quick, let's get them. And so I think you and Eva, Snake and Eva, understand like times of the essence. And even though Eva is not doing well, she has to get up. And you're greeted with like a call from paramedic.
Yeah, it's more or less a tutorial for taking care of Eva. Because in this section of the game, you and Eva are together.
Oh, it's like a little escort mission.
Yes. Yes. And since she is your ally, if she gets injured, you have to save her. So when you go into your cure menu, you're greeted with Eva. And
Oh, you can switch between the two?
yeah, you can switch between the two. So you could cure her, and then you could also give her food.
Okay.
You could also like look at her medical history if you're so inclined.
And this is where that one comment we got comes into play, because this is where you can see that she has
She had breast augmentation surgery.
I looked it up because I was reminded of that little portion for this episode. And if that's the case, that she's got breast enhancements, she got breast implants, she was one of the first to get them. Because I think it was like 1962 is when it was kind of like they found the way to do it. They were apparently working on breast enhancement surgery since like the late 1800s. And back then it was
God.
No, I was reading some stuff. It was the Wild West, T.
I can't imagine.
They were trying a lot.
Late 18. That's Red Dead 2.
They were trying a lot, T.
Oh my God.
So in like 1962, I think they like kind of finalized a silicone kind of like implant. They're like, okay, this is actually viable. Your body won't reject it. It won't stiffen or harden. So she was one of the first to be like, yo. And I guess it kind of makes sense with her role. If she's going to really be this kind of like femme fatale, master of disguise, you want to, I guess, have.
Now, I am not an expert in
Okay.
this sort of thing, but wouldn't like the early breast enhancement surgeries, like wouldn't they not look good? Like wouldn't they look kind of weird?
We don't know. We'd have to look it up.
We do have to look, but then that's another Google search a Google search I had to do. Buckle up. This is a wild story. Okay. So the year is 1961, and Dr. Frank Garrow felt a bag of blood one day and thought to himself, this feels like a breast. Let me fill this up with some saline. I'm just going to stuff it in a dog. And that's what he did. He stuffed it in a dog. But this dog chewed out the stitches after 2 weeks. But he was like, good enough. It's 1961. Who cares? So then this woman by the name of Timmy Jean Lindsay walks into the doctor's office wanting to get a tattoo removed. The doctors walk up to her and they're like, yo, you want to get your boobies enhanced? And she's like, nah, I don't know. And then they're like, yo, your ears are like Dumbo right now. We can pull those back for you too. We'll throw that in for free. Just let us touch your boobies. And she's like, okay. And then that's how it happened. It's so bizarre. Like, it's such the wonders of medical science, everybody. It's a fantastical place.
So maybe they had the shape. Maybe it wasn't perfect like it is now, but
yeah.
Also,
why not? It's Metal Gear. Who cares?
How specific was Kojima?
You just fought a giant robot. Like I'm not. I'm not getting on a
No, Kojima
pedestal
needs to
about
he needs
this.
to get every detail correct.
Okay.
But anyway, this is the part where you see Eva has her breast implant or
Yes.
augmentation.
When you're done healing Eva, the guards finally catch up to you. And it's up to you and Eva to go through the jungle and survive. And not to be seen by this search party.
Yeah, right. It's a very how many people deep is that party? It's like
It's like 4 or 5 people. But if you get caught, they start coming. So don't get caught.
and of course what's difficult with this is that Eva is obviously really maimed and
Yeah.
she walks
Very slow.
Yeah, you probably crawl faster than she can walk at this point.
Probably. And on top of that, her stamina bar drains so fast. So fast. She could be a real drain on your resources. So,
I mean, she is bleeding out.
yeah. But she could...
Get it together.
You're there giving her like a whole tuna, and she wants more. Crazy. Anyway,
Oh, so like at this point, like if you don't have enough resources, you have to scour them in the.
yes.
Wow.
So like if you're going in there light, you have to pick up stuff on the fly and just stuff it down Eva's mouth. Be like, eat this, Eva.
So what happens next, T?
Well, after successfully evading the guards that were sent after you, you go into another area where there are guards already on patrol. So it's up to you and Eva together to make it through this next section that's filled with like hidden snipers.
Who were they reporting to? Vogan's dead.
Yeah, who would they be reporting to?
I mean, maybe it's just like a continuation of their mission. Like they know.
Probably I would Ocelot.
Ooh.
Depending if you killed him or not, Rykov.
Maybe next.
Yeah, I would say either like Ocelot or Rykov.
And I can imagine maybe like it's all happening so quickly. If Vogan's dead, they're probably like, "Look, we'll figure this out. Go get them." Like like capture who killed them.
Yeah.
But like they're really committed, even though their man's body is.
Yeah, it's done. It's over. Maybe it's just like for pure vengeance at this point.
Mm-hmm. So you get the main area, and you have the sniper portion.
And then after that, you're finally at the lake. And
The wig is there, and
we said before, it is a ground effect vehicle. It's a plane that takes off from the water. And it's there. It's pristine. It
Eva
looks
can
good.
fly it. You're done.
Yeah. And she's looking up. She's actually like looking healthy. Like she's going to make it.
This is the end of the game.
No, it isn't.
Why not?
Well, as Eva is saying, she's like, let's go. And Snake it just kind of turns and he's like, no, I got to do a thing real quick. And then Eva's like, all right, I'll just wait here.
Wait over there. You wouldn't think the guards would come and
Yeah, you'd think that they would, but maybe they just respect boundaries.
they're like, oh,
They crossed the line, so,
like, oh shit, okay, the boss is right there.
You think they were talking on like radios and going like, yo, there's like a plane over on the lake. You want us to check that out?
There's a plane in the lake, and there's a woman just standing in a field by herself. They're like, yo, don't even.
No.
That's obviously a final boss.
You know what it could be? Ooh, maybe the boss radioed in and she was like, I'll patrol the lake.
Wait, that's probably who they even reached out to as well, because she's part of that team.
That's true.
So Ocelot and the boss, like kind of the last two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right. She probably even radioed in.
She was probably like, I'll patrol the lake. You guys can take care of everything
That
else.
makes sense. That
Yeah.
does make sense. So, Snake, as we said, his final mission. And ladies and gentlemen, everybody, boys and girls, theys and thems, we are here.
Ooh.
When I tell you, we are greeted with the biggest expose. We are greeted like this is really the meat of the episode, and this is really kind of the whole point of it all.
Mm-hmm.
We started the podcast with that first mission where Snake failed, got his ass beat, came back, continued to get his ass beat, but you are here now.
And your last challenge is to defeat the boss. And before this battle, she kind of like goes on this monologue about what an enemy is. What does it mean to serve your country? And she tries to communicate to Snake that there's no such thing as an enemy. That your enemy today might be your friend tomorrow. Your friend today might be your enemy tomorrow. Who's to know? And the only thing that matters is the mission that's in front of you.
Yeah, she it's kind of the way I see it, it's split. It's like an explanation of her background, what brought her to this point, and then like what you were referencing, her last lesson for Snake.
Mhm.
So to me, you kind of see like the two parts of her character in which like there's this image that she wants to last of herself, but then this is also this role she has to play. And I think Snake gets this image of her. She knows that to everybody else. Like, for example, when you come up into this arena, she has a nuke and she blows up Grozny Grad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Also, if we think back to like the origin of how this game started, the nuke that Vogan fired at what was
Sokolov's facility.
Sokolov facility, the lore, the history of it is that the boss fired that.
Mhm.
So I feel like she's kind of giving her last moments to Snake. It's kind of like the last chance for her to be remembered or seen in a certain light.
Yeah.
So we learn from this monologue by her that she's a daughter of one of the philosophers.
The philosophers.
The philosophers, like
Okay.
her father
Was one of them.
was one of them. She explains that it was originally called the Wise Men's Committee.
Which was in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Mm-hmm. Wise Men's Committee became the philosophers, and then they reinforced that idea of like it's different countries. It's like the most powerful man in like China, the U.S.,
Mhm.
Russia,
Basically the Illuminati.
essentially the Illuminati,
Yeah.
and that the philosophers that it kind of felt like she really liked what they were before because she references that the philosophers of today, they have no sense of good or evil, like their war.
They just aspire to repeat the same cycle over and over and over.
So I wonder if she is partial to them because of her family, her upbringing. Because we learn like she was raised in it. She went to these schools and she was privy to all these little conversations. Like she's not only a badass in combat and skill, but she's privy to the Illuminati and these larger.
She's high up in the chain.
Mm-hmm. And with her conversation about like who was an enemy and like this never-ending war, she references that Snake and her, like one of them was gonna have to die, and whoever lives is always gonna be a part of war.
This endless fight and inherit the title of boss.
It makes me wonder if she feels like maybe she had a chance to change that, or she had a chance to not add on to it.
Uh-huh.
We also get backstory. Like we get some like backstory about her own life before Snake. For example, she was exposed to radiation twice.
Yeah, she was part of the Mercury program.
Yeah.
And what was the earlier one?
She was sent into space.
Yeah, that was the Mercury program.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking about the one she's mentioned in 51. She was just part of...
Oh, the Nevada nuclear testing.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the first one.
So she was part of two. The Nevada one was the first one she went into. And then they sent her to space because they were like, you already got radiated once.
Yeah,
Just go back.
it's a miracle you're alive, lady. So, have at it.
She said that portion of her life was... I feel like that's kind of what changed her the most. Because she said she went into space and she just saw the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And she realized, like all these borders we have are made up. From there, she couldn't see what was it, communism or capitalism.
Apparently, a lot of astronauts go through this train of thought.
They call it the overview effect.
They say that there's something mentally that happens in your brain when you go to space and you just see Earth. And you're like, oh, okay, everything's meaningless. Okay. But like in like a good way.
And I think too, it's interesting when you think about like her upbringing. She was part of this Illuminati type thing. She was groomed into it, became this ultimate soldier in order to fight these wars and, be part of this committee that created a just and safe world. She saw that same committee become just a catalyst for future wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then now she's herself already too deep into it.
Yeah, it's just a system now. And how do you fight a system? Like, you're just one person.
You know, is she even able to do anything? Her first sentence of this whole monologue, I think, sums up kind of like her role. She starts this monologue by saying that she wants to make the world one again.
Mhm.
And I think that's the lasting impression that Snake is given or takes, because what does that mean to make the world one again?
Yeah.
There's
I would say it's, I mean, first off, no Cold War. Because like the world at this point is very divided. There's East and West, there's capitalism, communism going at odds. So that would be number one on the list. And then number two would be to get rid of the status quo. Like on whatever side wins. Because whatever is happening on either side isn't working.
mm-hmm.
Because in her ideal world, she says it herself, that she just wants a world without communism or capitalism. And she just wants everybody to coexist in one world together.
And I think that statement's so important because I think even the statement itself has no real idea of good or bad, like to make the world one again, because Vogan feels the same.
He does.
He wants to make the world one again.
But he has to be on top.
Like to him, yeah, like it's one again under him. And I think he felt like the boss and him agreed when they spoke and they joined forces. But to her, you can tell it's so much about stopping war.
It kind of reminds me of the world that Star Trek puts forth,
Mm-hmm.
where like and not in like the more modern ones with Chris Pine. Like if you watch like the older ones with like Patrick Stewart, the world that Star Trek takes place in is humanity evolved past the needs of self-worth, but like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there was like an episode where they brought back a businessman who, like, his whole life was his stocks and his extreme wealth, and when he wakes up, nobody has any use for that stuff anymore because everybody has everything that they could want.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, what am I supposed to do with myself? And Picard's just like, just explore yourself. That's the whole point of life, to live.
To live.
And to him, he was like, but my life was to make money. What do I do? And it was like this whole cool discussion. And I feel that that's what the boss wants to have. She just wants to have people to have the freedom to live the lives that they want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And not have people dictate who's an enemy and who's a friend and who you can and cannot talk to.
This part of the game, this little monologue, I think is something that's always discussed when you go on like Reddit, you go to YouTube, you have conversations, like the boss's will.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a topic that like the boss doesn't really go into detail about, and it kind of leaves it open to discussion. And because like the only thing that you could like really say is that the boss doesn't like war that much. And she doesn't like the status quo. But after that, it's kind of up to you.
And as we continue on in this series, like if we think about this game chronologically, like, again, like this is the first game in the series, there's always discussions on these future characters that we'll meet. Are they actually holding it, or is this person a better representation of what she wanted? Like that main idea of just like war bad, communism, capitalism bad.
What do I do to make the world better?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that in future games, and then in retrospect, replaying older games, you see glimpses of the boss's will and different interpretations of it. And you could say like, oh, maybe so-and-so had a point. Maybe this guy was more close.
It's such a simple idea, and I think she too, after all the experiences she went through, she really was, as she said it, she was a pawn of the government, a pawn of all these wars she was in. she's experienced so much. She realizes, like, at the end of it, like, she really, like, I think, like you said, the main thing that we can for sure say is that war is bad. She wanted to make the world one again, and that's a world that's above the needs of capitalism, communism, above borders, above all these countries fighting against, that she wanted to unite the world. And I think however future characters take that or like however they feel
Perceive it. Yeah.
perceive it, that's on them. But for sure we know that she wanted to unite it for good, as opposed to Vogan, which is kind of like her opposite, united for bad under
For
him.
me. Yeah.
And I think something else that we didn't get to mention yet, but she, to reinforce this idea of like who's an enemy and like this senseless violence, this need for war, she says a couple years ago, was it, excuse me, 2 or 3, her and the Sorrow had a fight and she had to kill the Sorrow.
She did.
She had to kill the Sorrow because at that point in that previous mission she had, they were enemies.
In fact, she had to kill the Sorrow in the same place where she threw you off that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, she had to kill her lover and her metaphorical child in the same place.
Not even that. She also had a child.
Oh, she had an actual child.
She had an actual child
Do tell.
that the philosophers took. The ones that she came from. That same group that groomed her, that taught her, that raised her, that shared their knowledge with her. They're the ones who took her baby.
God damn.
While she was in the middle of a mission.
During D-Day,
She
if I recall.
She was pregnant and deployed. She was tasked, I think, her and the Cobra unit with like dismantling V2 rocket installations.
Yes.
Pregnant at the time. After doing that, gave birth on the fields or whatever of Normandy, and the philosophers came and took her baby. Not even that. Whoever took the baby from her, she opens up her suit, and the scar, like her C-section scar, quote unquote.
Insane.
Where did they not know where the baby was? Because the scar goes from like her lower abdomen all the way up.
All the way up to like her fucking neck. It's
neck.
crazy.
And she's like a cross through, like she, like, you know, she says that she feels empty, but at times she has like an ache or like that pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny, right? Because she's a soldier. She's been given missions. She has her country. But then that same group of people also have harmed her and treated her in a way, like almost as if she was an enemy.
Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, her role, she's playing a role right now, because you would think, why not just run away? Why not leave?
I don't know. I feel like she has an idea of upholding. I hesitate to say like the status quo, but like I feel that she knows that if she runs away, it could result in more people getting hurt, and knowing that Snake has to complete his mission by killing her is something that like she honors. Because like if memory serves me right, if Snake doesn't complete this mission, he's dead.
He's dead.
And Major Zero's dead. So maybe the boss is kind of calculating this and being like, if me staying here can give them a shot at life, then I'm rolling the dice.
And then not only that, but I think it preserves the relationship between the U.S. and Russia. It doesn't lead them into this kind of like...
Yeah, and that's like the big picture stuff too. Like it doesn't escalate things further.
So it's almost like she's really not given much, and she's like, at this point, I have to take this fall. You have to kill me. But just know that when you kill me, you're going to inherit this title, and you're going to be a part of this never-ending cycle.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, I'm a legend. If you kill me, you're a legend. And my responsibility is now your responsibility. And that's a lot to take in.
And I feel like this whole notion of like who's an enemy, like what's an enemy, your friend now can be your enemy next. She's just like, look, you're gonna inherit this, but maybe you can do something.
Yeah, maybe you could be better than me.
Maybe you can, yeah, please be better. Like maybe you can be better. Maybe you can change. Maybe like I am at the end of my life.
Mhm.
It is up to you now. She's passing that sad baton to him, you know.
And I'm sure he'll honor it. I'm sure he'll do great.
You know. But before he can go on and do great things,
Let's see what you're made of.
boss battle, you actually have a time limit because she calls in. I guess you know what? Like earlier, we were talking about who they're talking to. They're probably calling her because she calls
Yeah, she
Yeah.
calls in a bombing raid.
to happen in 10 minutes. So they're probably speaking to her, the other guards from before. So she's calling it a bomb raid to come in 10 minutes. And so she's like, you got 10 minutes, Snake, to defeat me. Let's get at it.
And this boss fight is so interesting because every boss fight that you encounter so far has like bombastic music and it's very like theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, be quiet for a second. That's what's going on. Nothing. It's just you and the boss in an open field beating each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
You have 10 actual minutes to defeat her, and if you don't,
the MIGs actually come and blow you up. Like you legit have 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you take longer than I'd say like 7 or so minutes, music does begin to play and it's Snake Eater, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
I mean, God, you could defeat this boss in a multitude of ways. You could CQC her, which to this day, I find the timing to be a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But you could CQC her, you could knock her on the ground and just pop her while she's on the ground. You can be a coward like me. You could hide and snipe her. You could run and gun. It's kind of like a masterclass of like everything you've learned in the game.
Oh, that's a good way to see it. I like that, actually.
Which is kind of like a cool metaphor for like the boss too, because like she's the ultimate soldier and she's like a real test of everything you've learned.
And throughout the game, we've been given glimpses of Snake becoming better and better, despite his setbacks, whether it's being thrown off a bridge, whether it's her or the horse stepping on his foot or his hand and breaking him. He's always bounced back. We had that first image of him catching the C3 butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Is it.
it.
He's the best he's ever gonna be. Like, if we were watching like a sports movie, this is like the last quarter. The coach is like, all right, we're down by like 20 points. We gotta lock the fuck in, guys. All right, get out there and win. And then they lock in, and then they just do the most unbelievable play. This is Snake right now. He's doing the most unbelievable shit.
Yeah, he has to.
He has to.
He has to. And I think the saddest part about this is that, unlike the other bosses, when you kill them, they have like little death animation or scream, whatever. When you actually do defeat her, she's lying on the ground, and you give another little kind of conversation. But ultimately, she's asking you to kill her.
Yeah, but before you kill her, she gives you the Philosopher's Legacy.
She gives you the Philosopher's Legacy. Not even that. I'm thinking about this. She gives you her gun.
Mm-hmm.
She's passing the baton.
Yeah, that's like a metaphorical baton.
And what's the gun called?
The Patriot.
Come on.
Ooh. And then she asks you to kill her with it.
The symbolism.
Ooh.
The symbolism. But cool, you have the Philosopher's Legacy now.
Yeah, you
Cool.
you have billions of dollars.
You can be a good patriot and bring it right back to the US of A.
Mm-hmm.
This boss battle, that scene, like, the game, like, when you defeat her and she's lying on the ground and she's just laying there, the game does not continue until you press that button.
Yeah. You have to actually pull the trigger. It's up to you. It's not a cutscene. You gotta pull that trigger.
I've waited.
Yeah, no, you gotta pull that trigger.
And it's just one shot that rings out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're greeted with this cutscene, a literal visual representation of Snake's trauma. You and I go back and forth about this of like the leaves actually change.
Yeah, I'm of the camp like it's just a symbolism. It's just metaphorical.
Because after you shoot her and she's there lying dead, the arena is a field of like white flowers. All the flowers turn red and it spreads out into the entirety of the arena. And there's just like red petals flowing and like circling around both of them. And it's, again, like the visual representation of just like the blood on his hands.
Yeah, I mean, also the scar on the boss's body.
Yeah.
It leaves like it
slithers away.
It becomes a literal snake, and it slithers away from the boss's body.
I mean, she said earlier like that was like the lingering pain in her. The pain has left her body.
Mm-hmm.
One could say maybe she's at peace now.
Yeah,
the scar.
that's true. That's like that lingering pain is gone.
Yeah, because I always thought it was interesting. She's like, I feel nothing now, but
She feels that. Yeah.
so it's like she's just completely empty and just a shell, except for the pain of like her child, and then her child is Snake for all intents and purposes. You know what I mean? Like,
I wonder where that child is.
I know, me too. I hope one day. I hope one day. We did mention it in a previous episode, I think, didn't we?
We did.
Didn't we?
You want to talk about it?
Yes. Okay, T, real quick. Who is the boss's son, and how do we know? The son.
The boss had a son, and the son was Ocelot.
How do we know this?
We know this because there are coded conversations that you could have within this game.
Which is why it's so important to just take in everything. Always call them for anything.
If you pester Eva, she talks to you about Ocelot, and she says that Ocelot gets special treatment because his parent was a legendary soldier, and their mother gave birth on the field of battle. And Snake, assumes that, that was the mother and the legendary soldier was the father.
It's kind of like that doctor joke.
And it kind of lines up with the boss's story, where she is the legendary soldier who gave birth on a field of battle. And it's just kind of like looking at you dead in the face and being like, it doesn't explicitly say, but it kind of points. It kind of points and goes like, put it together.
This legendary boss, like they call her legendary soldier
Mm-hmm.
throughout this game. She gives birth on the battlefield, and then you have this codec call where Ocelot's given special treatment because his parent was a legendary soldier and his mom gave birth on a battlefield. The only thing that's missing is like people not assuming the mom would be the legendary soldier. She said that the child that she had, the sorrow, was the father.
Yes.
So that's for sure. She said that. So her child, if it's Ocelot, his father is the sorrow. So both his... I mean, it does make sense that his father would also be a legendary soldier, but the title of that is given to the boss.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure in life, the sorrow was capable. Mm-hmm. But...
Not like a boss.
The boss was a special kind of legend.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Tom, T, the boss is dead.
The boss is dead.
Is dead.
And we mosey on over back to Eva. All happy.
Maybe in tears. Maybe
not happy.
Holding
in tears.
one red petal.
Un petal.
Un petal. That's red from the... It's like when you go to the concert, you get a little
confetti.
Confetti. You're like, oh my God, I remember this. He's like, I just killed my mom.
Yeah, a memento of killing my mom.
And Eva's like, we gotta go. She knows what you did, but I think also like the guards are on our tail. We have to leave. Let's get out of here. And so she's prepping it.
So as Eva's prepping the wig and Snake is contemplating all of his life choices, something just suddenly hits the wig. And Snake looks out, and guess who it is? It's our best friend Ocelot. And he's riding on the hoverboard. And he's like, Snake! And it's like, we're not done here. He fucking like jumps off of this hoverboard, this hovercraft
Into the wig
into the wig.
while they're both moving.
Insane.
Yeah, he had a lot of faith in his own ability. I like also too that he jumps in and the two of you just start scrapping.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately, you jump in, your man's here, and it's just
No, it's like Tom and Jerry stuff.
it's just on site.
Just scrapping.
And like they're really fighting.
Uh-huh.
Like these are some like hard ass punches, and Eva's like, "Hey Snake, we're overloaded," which I guess Ocelot's just thick. Like
He's just dummy thick.
the hoverboard didn't come in either. It was just him,
No,
right?
yeah.
So he's just.
I mean, it took out an engine, but let's be real. Like, Ocelot, at best,
just thick.
if I was to eyeball it, he probably weighs like what, like 160, 170.
Also, a wig. It's not like a military. Like, why wouldn't it be able
It's a
to carry
yeah. It should be. It should
two
be fine.
people in the front and then cargo in the back? Why?
It should be fine. But you know, it's for dramatic effect.
Okay, so it's overloaded. So you have to fight him and get him off of this ASAP.
Gotta get him off
Because
this plane.
the wig is not able to take off.
Yeah, with Ocelot on it. Mm-hmm. So you're scrapping. Then the scrapping turns into just straight on martial arts.
We see the elements of CQC.
Ocelot's just like, yeah, I picked it up. And Snake is just like, you're pretty good, kid. But Ocelot is like, you know what? F this. And then he just takes out his gun and proceeds to aim it at Snake and end everything right here and now. Snake goes to Eva and goes like, yo, toss me a gun. She tosses him a revolver. And then they have like this standoff. They pull the trigger a bunch of times at each other. And no revolver is loaded. Ocelot is like, you know what? Let's make this interesting. Let's make this fun. Let's play Russian roulette. I'm going to put a bullet in one of these revolvers. I'm going to shuffle them. And then we're going to see who did it.
At what point do they even care about like the mission? Like
They're careening towards the end of the lake. Like,
do you think Ocelot even cares about the mission or vengeance, or is it just two guys just kind of?
I am sincerely of the belief that at this point, Ocelot doesn't care. He doesn't care about Volgan. He doesn't care about Russia. He is in love with Big Boss, either in the literal sense or like he's in love with like the legend. He's infatuated by like this dude is so awesome. I just want to be around him.
Yeah, I want to not only be around him, I want to best him. I want to fight him. I want to. It's like you see someone at the top of their game who's just so well versed and intelligent and smart, and it's like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
like, you know, it's. I'm trying to think. It's like kind of like a sport. Like when you have two athletes who are like, I don't care who wins. I just want to play.
Yeah, I want to be in this game, and.
You kind of respect that.
Yeah, Snake kind of respects it. And he plays along. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'll do it.
It's kind of, they respect each other. And I think, too, kind of to like what the boss was mentioning. If it wasn't for what's going on, they'd probably be friends.
Oh, they would be best friends. Are you kidding me? Maybe even more than friends.
They were roommates.
In a way, if you think about it, the relationship between the boss and Snake is the same as between Snake and Ocelot. Where like I would imagine that early on in the boss and Snake's relationship, like way back when they first met up, they probably had this similar camaraderie.
Oh, like they were both like a scrappy and like she saw this little runt and
Yeah, she saw like this little runt trying to scrap with her, and maybe like she saw something in him and she was like, yeah, I'll keep him around. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. And I feel that Snake had the same inkling with Ocelot, where he's just like, I like this scrappy little dude. Let's see what happens.
Exactly. And even though they're careening toward their death and Eva's screaming at you to like hurry up, you guys just play a little game of Russian roulette. Let me, Ocelot puts his bullet in one chamber of one gun. He does a little juggling and he puts them down. And he's like, okay, you pick a gun and let's shoot and see what happens.
And you as the player can pick the gun. Now, there's actually like multiple endings here.
It's pretty cool.
The If you pick the right gun.
There's like 4 endings. Wouldn't there be? Wait. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You two.
Well,
go first.
if you pick the right gun, like as in the gun that has the bullet, you could shoot Ocelot. You can miss Ocelot intentionally, or you could choose not to shoot at all.
Okay, that's already 3 different.
And if you choose the wrong gun, Ocelot shoots you. So yeah, 4 endings.
4 endings. Okay.
Well, like 4 optional thing. It doesn't really change anything too much.
Yeah, it's a different set of dialogue, but I think it's cool to have that option. Also, it's like kind of like you as the player, like what would you do in this situation? Because I think you can like know which. Can you track which gun it is? Maybe.
Oh God, if you got a good eye, but like honestly, like it's a mixture between like the actual cutscene and then the first person cutscene, and it's hard.
It's something for like multiple playthroughs you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with the endings that I listed, which one do you think would be like the canonical one?
Oh, the canonical one. I need a moment to think. Do you have one?
I believe that Snake would pick the gun that has the bullet in it, but doesn't fire it.
Okay. Why?
Because Snake doesn't want to kill Ocelot, and he thinks that it has an actual bullet in it, right? But he wants to entertain Ocelot with this game, so by not firing it and let Ocelot run through his chances of getting the bullet, it shows Ocelot like
who's in charge?
Yeah, it's kind of like showing dominance by like I'm playing your game, but just let it be known, if I wanted to, you'd be dead.
Damn.
You know? But it's like by the act of not playing, he's showing like
who's in charge.
Who's in charge? You know what I mean?
Who has the upper hand? You see, that makes. Oh, I'd have to think more on that.
I would say either that or intentionally missing, because it kind of shows the same message.
Because yeah, at that point, like you said, the bullet that's in one of the revolvers is a blank.
It is a blank.
It's a blank. We don't know that. Ocelot knows that. You shoot it. Whichever cutscene you get, it's a blank.
Yeah.
So at that point, yeah, as Snake, it's like, what would he do in that scenario? And I think that's also what Ocelot wants. He wants to see what kind of like another way to say what kind of man this person is.
Yeah.
I do think like so the canonical one is like they'd be friends, but in my head it's like, does Snake show dominance or not?
I don't want to say it's like dominance as in like I want to like dominate you, but like in the relationship that's forming between Snake and Ocelot.
Like, I'm the better?
Like I'm the better, and remember that. You know?
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. And that ties in with kind of like when they go throughout this game, like each encounter they have, Snake is always besting him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh my God. And if you think about it, every encounter that Snake has with Ocelot, he bests him. Just like how every encounter that Snake has with Ocelot, she bests him.
Oh, good point.
It's a mirror. It really is passing the baton between Snake, like from the boss to Snake. And then
canonically, Ocelot would get the gun and shoot at him and be like.
I mean, if things were to go full circle, it would be Ocelot that would take up the reins.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like in this kind of like, but maybe for a later time. Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
But in a hypothetical scenario.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
Interesting. But yeah, it's a blank. Ocelot's like, it's a joke. It's a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's a.
You got the Impractical Jokers on the other end. And it's like, yo, Ocelot, tell him that it's a blank.
Now shoot him.
Now shoot him for real.
So he it's all a game of just like assessing each other's character, assessing who they are. Ocelot doesn't, like you said, he doesn't care.
No.
Even more so, he doesn't care because at this point, after you two have your little moment, he jumps out of the wig.
And he just rolls into like the lake going like, I don't know, 700 miles an hour.
Yeah, like the wig is the wig has been flying for a bit.
This is a big lake.
Like he tucks and rolls out the wig onto the lake, and
he would have broke every bone in his body. There's no way.
Very silly. I always laugh at that cutscene because
it looks ridiculous.
Because he would have died. He would have instantly died on that ground, but he doesn't. And thanks to his thick ass jumping out of the wig, Eva and Snake are able to pilot it above the mountains or the terrain that they were about to crash into. And everything is saved.
The world is saved.
Until
The MiGs that the boss called in are going to shoot down the wig. Oh no!
they were going to blow up that arena by the boss, and then now they notice you. And so it's like, okay, so we're actually going to die now. Like, we're actually, and like Snake and Eva literally hold each other. And they're like, basically having another tender moment because this is the end of it. Like there's no way they can outfly.
No, they can't outmaneuver. They can't, like, that's it. It's over. And at least if it were to end here, the mission is complete and the world is saved.
That's a great way to look at it because I was like, fuck. But they complete their mission.
They completed their mission.
I think the only thing is like the US wouldn't have the Philosopher's Legacy.
Yeah.
But that's...
Oh no, money. However, the MiGs get called off by Khrushchev.
Yay, Khrushchev.
Right? Hooray for Khrushchev. Everybody's just kind of wondering, why did Khrushchev do that?
He literally ordered them to abort the mission and they fly away. And Snake and Eva literally like...
They kind of contemplate. Major Zero chimes in and he's like, maybe it has something to do with Khrushchev just not wanting any more bloodshed. Maybe he wants us to owe him. Who knows? But just get home. Who cares?
Zero actually calls in to kind of like talk about that with you, and he interrupts another kiss between the two.
Oh,
of
yeah,
you.
that's true.
He interrupts. He calls in right before you and Eva share a glad to be alive kiss. But yeah, we never understand why Khrushchev calls it off. It's
up to you to figure it out. I'm of the belief that Khrushchev just wanted us to owe him. So if Khrushchev was like in the need of a favor, we kind of have to do it.
Because at this point, you actually did what Khrushchev wanted of you. And
Yeah.
at this point, he was probably like, okay, you guys did it. You on a sense, you would have been even. And the fact that he let your soldier come back, he is like, okay, you guys, thank you, but remember this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
This very tension-filled Cold War-esque.
Snake and Eva land, and they are stateside.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely safe. They're totally cool. They're hanging out in a cabin.
They're literally drinking champagne and flirting.
Excuse me, it's wine.
It's wine?
It's red wine.
Fuck, sorry.
It's a,
I got champagne on New Year's. I got champagne on the brain.
all right, it's fine.
Champagne on the brain. So they're flirting. Like, this is it. Snake is actually like making moves and like no, the mission is over. And I guess he's letting loose. He's actually not being this really awkward guy.
Do you think it's really because of like him being on the clock in a sense that like he just doesn't want to engage in these kind of activities?
I think also he was so focused on the mission. I think he was very driven to complete. Like, it was I'm not here to make friends or like engage with anyone. I have something to do. And
Right.
now that it's done and I'm in a cabin and we're drinking wine and I'm safe, all bets are off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know how close they are, but they did share a lot of moments together. And I
That's
think
true.
a lot of people died. So I feel like it's also a moment of like, what's like levity? Like, okay,
We made it out.
we made it out before, they're eventually going to have to process all that trauma. But like now it's like, woo!
We did it.
We're alive. And they hook up. Like, we get a cutscene.
Yeah, we get a love scene.
Mm-hmm.
They have like sexy jazz in the background. They're making out in front of like a fireplace.
They were in the same outfits they were wearing throughout the entirety of the game.
Ew. Yeah, that's true.
But
they're probably so sweaty.
I feel like the adrenaline is probably super high.
Yeah, that's true. The pheromones are going wild right now.
Disgusting. Disgusting. But they hook up where they're there, and Snake wakes up and he's shirtless.
Yo, got his ass knocked out.
He's shirtless.
I'm just saying.
He had a long couple of...
He had a long nap. We'll just put it
I
that
was like,
way.
he had a long mission, okay? He was just...
Oh, yeah, he had a long mission, all right.
He wakes up, he's shirtless, and Eva's gone.
Huh?
She left a little picture.
Actually, that's a little picture and a tape, right?
And a tape? Well, first the picture had her little lips, like lipstick mark on it, a little kiss,
Mhm.
and then a big ass tape. Because 1964, so they didn't have a little like a voice recorder. It was a big.
I left you a telegram.
It was huge. She left them a recording, and like, you know, Snake is like smoking a cigar. He's listening. He's chilling. And she admits to being a spy.
Yeah. For China. She's a spy for China. You thought she worked for the KGB? No. You thought she was the NSA codebreaker? No. They were actually both men. Remember that story that I told you about the two men that went over the Soviet Union and they were like playing with swords? That was a true thing. And they were both men.
And Eva played on. But she was able to make up a really quick story and was like, "Oh no, I'm Eva. Like I'm one of them." And it was like, no, she literally, she was planning on killing whoever showed up and taking their place, but they never showed up.
Yeah, Adam was supposed to meet Snake, if we recall, and Adam never showed. So she was like, perfect.
Perfect. I'm Eva. And she literally gave you her ending monologue is within these tapes. She left. She took the philosopher's legacy with her. Okay?
And the Shagohod test data.
And the Shagohod test data. And she's like, yo, this is going to put China back on the map. China has their own coalition or contingent of like the philosophers, like the philosophers. And USA and Russia have been like kind of fighting against each other, and they're the two big bads. And China's like, nah, we're next, baby. We up.
It's gonna happen.
We up. And now they have the Shagohod stuff and they have the money.
Everything's coming up, China.
Everything's coming up, China. But thankfully, Eva, she's kind of feeling Snake. Like she's definitely, you know, again, like she is, you know, part of China. She has her mission, but I think she grew to actually love Snake, and she actually begins to express more of just kind of like her feelings, and then also her feelings regarding the boss. Eva explains that she herself was raised in a philosopher's charm school, and that despite all that training and, you know, she was able to trick Snake, Volgin, Ocelot, she was able to trick all these people, she was not able to trick the boss.
Because she was an instructor at these schools.
And also the boss herself is part of the philosophers.
Yeah.
So, like, the boss took a liking to Eva immediately. Which, I mean, it's kind of funny considering, like, there's all these people with these different secret missions and they're, you know, kind of like all spies. But, like, they're like, oh, you're part of the Illuminati? Me too.
Wow.
Let's
hey,
you know?
small world, huh? It just kind of goes into, like, this whole thing of, like, the boss and Eva being a part of this whole secret organization and finding some sort of like camaraderie in that. I guess that's like as soon as the boss had an option to save Eva, because like Volgin wanted her dead, and the boss was like, oh, this is a way out for her, so let me just do her a solid real quick.
Eva essentially tells you as Snake that she isn't telling you all this because she likes you or she wants you.
Aw.
She's like, I'm supposed to kill you. Like, I'm not, like, I had a mission, I had a role, and you are just someone in my way. But I didn't do it because of the boss. Like, I respect the boss so much. And I've been lying to you the entirety of our time together. Everything I've ever done is a lie except for this.
Goddamn.
And, like, I'm going against what my own, like, basically my own handlers want because I just think the boss is just so cool. And this is where we get the coolest cutscene to, like, end the game. We are visually given this cutscene of Snake walking into kind of, like, the presidential office and being greeted by not only his team, the team that's been supporting you the entirety, but the president, members of the cabinet, CIA. Eva speaking over this. Eva essentially says that the initial plan was that the boss was going to befriend Volgin and obtain the philosopher's legacy and then come back. Basically, like, you know, befriend him, come back.
Just dip.
The boss had to throw her life. Like, she had to throw her life away to maintain peace in America, because when Volgin shot that American-made nuke at Sokolov's facility, it changed the whole plan. Because since that nuke was American made, there had to be an explanation for it. And the boss being there was the only way they could tie up that knot.
So the boss ended up from being a agent to steal the legacy to like a sacrificial lamb overnight.
Like the defection was like it was a farce. Like it was fake at first, and then it was like, oh, actually, that's gonna be the official story now. Like we need a way to prove to Khrushchev. We need a way to prove to everybody that like, like we have to find an explanation, and you just so happen to fit it.
Yeah, she never betrayed the United States.
Never. Her betraying the United States was her being the truest patriot of all time.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to like making the world one again. She had to do that in order to keep up this facade, because if she didn't do that and kind of stood up for herself or whatever, then Russia and America would have went to war most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the world would have ended. Imagine knowing that you had to like more or less kill yourself or the world ends. That's insane. That's a fucking crazy thing.
And she had to play this role well. She had to play it because Vogan had to believe it. Everybody else had to believe that she would defect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's sad is that like she doesn't really tell anybody that. She doesn't tell Snake that really.
I mean, she can't really. I mean, if you think about it, back when she killed the Sorrow was more or less egging her on to kill him, right? And I would imagine that was hard for her to do. Maybe not telling Snake and having him believe that she betrayed the United States would be an easier pill to swallow than to do it because it was just what the higher ups wanted.
Yeah, right. Because he didn't. Yeah, she didn't explain the entirety of the scenario. She's like, your mission is to do this.
Yeah.
And like my goals. Yeah, like she explained like her like one world goal, but
she didn't explicitly say to Snake, I never betrayed the United States.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
I don't want to do this, but
they set me up, Snake. They set me up. They'll set you up too.
Yeah, she didn't do any of that. But maybe he'll think that. The worst part about all of this, however, is that Snake knows that not even that. The worst part about all of this is that America has to maintain that the boss defected throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot, like that real true story cannot come out because then it's just going to show their hand.
Yeah, she will go down in official history as a war criminal.
Not only is she a traitor, that's the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Snake is walking to this office, obviously after hearing Eva's tape, and he has to greet the people who are maintaining the story and who are creating the official history of what happened.
The people who are responsible.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Yeah, responsible. He is shaking hands with the president, the head of the CIA. He is looking at his support team, and everybody knows what the fuck just happened. Everyone's like, great job, Snake. Cool. It's like, do you not understand what just happened?
Do you understand what you had to make me do right now?
What you had to make me do? She is gone and no one cares.
Yeah. They're actually celebrating it as if she did betray the United States.
And I think everybody in that room knows that, mm-hmm. You know what? Maybe not his support team, maybe not Zero and Paramedic, but maybe, President CIA would know.
Oh, why wouldn't Zero know? Oh, right, because they didn't listen to the tape. Well, maybe Snake told them afterwards.
Maybe. Who knows? But then, like, think about that, too. If he's holding that in him, who's going to believe him? And two, people probably wouldn't want him to share that.
Yeah.
He has to also hold that secret in him.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who do know, the president, the CIA,
mm-hmm.
and he has to shake their hands and be awarded this medal. And
you could tell while he's being awarded this medal of... It's a medal for being above the boss. It's the medal is the Big Boss medal.
So he's now
Big Boss. That's how he gets the name.
He's above her.
So silly. Anyway, right before he gets this award, the president, who's President Johnson, gives his hand for Snake to shake it. And Snake, for a moment, he's like not wanting to do it. Like you could actually see that he's like, F this. But like he slowly accepts the handshake and everybody takes his picture. Everybody's clapping.
Everyone's smiling but him.
And you could see like Snake just has like this 1,000-yard stare this whole time. He's just like over it. He's over everything. Because like he just sees that this is just like a show. And like everybody's clapping like, congratulations. You feel good? You feel good about yourself?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like what we really also see, like his true feelings, is when the next person in line to shake his hand is
The CIA agent. Or CIA, the head of the CIA.
the director.
Director, yeah, thank you.
And that guy's like, oh, let me shake it. It's my turn for a handshake. And Snake disses the shit out of him.
He's like, get out of my way, loser.
Literally, it leaves him hanging. Everyone kind of stops in the room. And then Snake leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see his support team, paramedics, Sigint, Zero. They're like, they're clapping, but then they're looking at him like,
Where's he going?
Where is he going? Snake's done.
Mm-hmm.
Snake is done. The CI team doesn't. They don't even care. They literally are having a side conversation. They're like, "Yo, we need a special unit. We need a special forces."
Yo, this guy is awesome. We need guys like
They
this.
don't care.
Yeah.
It's back to this whole thing about like soldiers are pawns.
Mm-hmm.
You can have this grandiose idea of what it means to be a soldier and be a patriot, but there's people above you who
just don't care.
who move you around.
It's kind of crazy to think that like the boss, who's like a ground level person, as high up as she was a field operative, and she had these high level ways of thinking and all these discussions, and then you have people who are like above her and doing actual maneuvers, going like, we need people like that big boss guy, huh?
They're obviously weaker than you. They're not as skilled, but they're the ones that make the moves.
They're calling the shots.
They're calling the shots. And Snake he just leaves. He's done. And the game literally ends with Snake at a graveyard? Cemetery.
Yeah.
And he is literally at one headstone. Unnamed headstone. But it says,
in memory of a patriot who saved the world. So it's in memory of Big Boss. Like it's an unmarked grave for the boss, but it's remembered by Big Boss.
he's there saluting and crying.
Because like he's the only one. He's the only one that knows.
And that's how the game fucking ends.
It's crazy to think that a game like this, like it has so much lightheartedness. There's so much stupid crap that happens in this game, and then it ends in like the most like devastating way possible.
I feel like we can have another episode kind of like detailing this ending, but it's not as intense as Metal Gear Solid 2's ending was. It's definitely not something we need to break down. Like it's very easy to understand where the boss was coming from. It's very easy to understand the betrayal, and it's very easy to understand where Big Boss / Snake might be going after.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like with 2 was such a doozy because it was kind of having this larger commentary of the future of technology and AI. And this one's like, yeah, the military industrial complex, maybe it's not so good, and maybe people who are in it are...
Maybe they're not the smartest people in the room. Maybe we should take a step back and just chill out.
So it's a real big commentary on war, but I don't think it's something that like you really need to kind of scratch your head at. It's very much hitting you.
It's very straightforward. It's a lot like Metal Gear Solid 1 in that regard, where there's a lot of twists and turns, and you can dig your teeth into like these like higher discussions, but it's fairly straightforward.
And I think the lasting effect of this is kind of like, considering it's the first in the timeline, where does this send certain characters off into? Where do certain characters, where does their career go? What are their beliefs? Because the boss has affected a lot of people in this game.
Yeah.
And this moment does have a lot of ripple effects. I mean, we see Big Boss in Metal Gear, Metal Gear 2.
And like, look, here's a great example. Like, here's where he started. Now look where he ended.
He had Zanzibar Land in Metal Gear 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had
Outer Heaven in Metal Gear 1.
in Metal Gear 1. So he went from what happened? He was a soldier, he was within the United States, and then he was literally, you were playing as Solid Snake, infiltrating and fighting this warlord in, you know.
Yeah, in Zanzibar land. And you're brought face to face with like a war criminal who recruits child soldiers. And
What?
we were playing as that guy.
We were playing as the pre-war criminal.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was a war criminal now. But, you know. We like, what happened? And that gap is missing. Like, we don't have the moments to understand where he turned.
I mean, when this game first was released, you could argue like that hesitation to shake the president's hand, very subtle, but like you could infer that that's when the turn happened.
And we have a couple of games that we'll cover that kind of give a more in-depth coverage of like his work post this game. But the wheels are turning. He was given that title, and Big Boss was created then. The Big Boss that we know in Metal Gear, and I mean every other Metal Gear Solid game. That's when he was created. So to think about like this lovable like oaf that we like, and this guy with a funny personality, like I honestly forgot right now that he becomes Big Boss. Like
right?
I totally forgot that he is this war criminal.
Yeah, I for people who like Big Boss, I get it. But this is the only game where I could like play as Big Boss and be like, this guy's kind of cool. I like him.
And it makes you wonder, like, what about what the boss said? Like, was that heavy on his mind, or was the betrayal by the United States heavier? You know what I mean? Because she had a lot to say about like making the world just and saving, like creating hope for people and saving people, and he went on to have child soldiers. Like you know what I mean? Like
I feel that I mean, from what we have in front of us right now, because like we're covering the games in release order, and what we have in front of us right now, I would say that like the idea of his country betraying him like that hit harder than whatever the boss was trying to tell him.
he would have
Like I feel like he would have. I feel like the idea that your country would betray you like that, because like he says in like past codec calls and like how patriotic he is and how much his country means to him, and the idea of your country betraying you like that and like leaving you to the wayside like nothing is like, why would I give myself to this? I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna bounce.
and I'll keep doing what I know, which is being a soldier, creating like maintaining or creating wars. I mean, this episode's getting too long, and I honestly kind of do want to delve more into that. Maybe we'll talk.
We do a 201.
Yeah, we'll talk. But like, this ends so sadly. This ends with him just in tears at the loss of the boss, and we're really given kind of the creation of Big Boss. It's supposed to be this grand title. He did his mission. He was the best soldier out here, and he's broken.
Yeah.
He's broken. We're left with questions about the philosopher's legacy. What becomes of that? We're left questions of like, again, like where does Big Boss go after this? We after this cutscene of him crying at the grave, we are given like a timeline of events, and it kind of details things up until the creation of Solid Snake.
Yeah, it goes from 1964 to 1972. And it just kind of like shows like a little epilogue on like where characters end up. So like you have Sigint go into DARPA. Hint, hint. He goes into DARPA.
The DARPA.
Yeah. He's the DARPA chief.
Ooh.
You have Eva goes missing somewhere in Hanoi.
Oh, cool.
Who knows what happened there? Paramedic continues her research. I wonder what happens.
She apparently creates the first paramedic system in Washington State, I believe it was.
That is great.
Yeah, something fun and great and helpful.
I'm sure that she will do many great things, and people will remember her fondly. And 1972, the Les Enfants Terribles project was done, and Snake and all his little brothers were born.
That's it. That's the end of the game.
No, you're wrong. One last thing.
Yeah.
Post credits.
Okay. Surprise.
Yeah, every game. Ocelot calls somebody from the KGB or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
saying that Groznygrad was demolished and that Vulcan is dead. Fantastic.
Okay, so he's calling his people, his handlers.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool.
But Ocelot hangs up the phone, picks it up again.
Okay.
He calls the United States.
Okay.
And he says that the boss has accomplished her mission. He knew the whole time.
So he's a double agent.
He's like a triple agent, I think.
Because he said he was working with Russia, but he's not. He's working with the
I
U.S.
think, like, he said he's working for KGB, pretending to be Groot, but he's actually working for the United States.
Okay. So double agent.
Triple agent.
Why triple? Who's the third one?
Because there's GRU, KGB,
Yes. Forgive me.
CIA.
Okay.
So he's saying, like,
Does
yo,
he call them all from the same phone?
I don't know, maybe he's got another phone. He's got two phones.
You got two phones, one for the...
One for the plug, one for the... Anyway. He calls the CIA and he's like, yo, the boss accomplished their mission. I got the Philosopher's Legacy. I got the Metal Gear test data. I got the whole thing.
But Eva has it.
No, they gave him a fake.
So, the one that was in Vogan's office maybe was a fake. And then he, replaced it and he has it.
Yeah.
Damn.
So the United States has the legacy.
So, okay. So...
And he was supposed to be Adam.
Oh.
He kind of gave it away while you were fighting him in the plane. He says his name was Ademska.
Oh, Adamska. Well, okay, Adamska Adam, sure. So, okay. This kind of sets the stage up. Well, maybe not. This is so confusing. This is probably the most confusing part of the game. This last episode is the most confusing part of the game, I would say.
Probably.
Because, again, it's nothing like Metal Gear Solid 2, but we have a lot of the twists and turns.
There's a lot of conspiracy board stuff we're talking about right now.
But, okay, it doesn't set up Ocelot for the next game, but it explains maybe, his role in, Metal Gear 2. No, Metal Gear Solid. You know what I mean? His behavior in that is kind of wishy-washy.
He's always, a two-faced dude.
Yeah.
I feel like it's safe to say that whenever you see Ocelot in a game, you don't believe him. Never believe him. He will always find a way to triple, quadruple cross you and then somehow help you. I don't know.
Yeah, because that means Vogan was surrounded by spies. Again, the comparison from Vogan to Saldus still stands.
Mm-hmm.
Vogan was surrounded by spies and people who weren't on his side but pretending to be. But then also this means that Ocelot, while being a triple spy, still likes Snake. I feel like that encounter, he still likes him.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
There's still some kind of friendship or connection there, camaraderie. But damn, so Eva, what? Okay. Because Eva, she's a spy and she tricked you and she left and she thinks she's good, but she was wrong. She's still a spy. And then you have Ocelot who tricked. Well, you never thought he's on your side, so I guess Ocelot gets a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
For Snake. I mean, I don't think Snake cares at this point. His mom died. He's not set up for success right now.
Not really. Ask him in about a couple of years. He'll have some time to compress this
into a
healthy piece of coal that he'll carry with him for the rest of his life.
If that's not a way to describe grief and trauma, just a nice hefty piece of coal in you. But that is it. And I mean, that's it for the game. I mean, as Metal Gear Solid 2, this game was supposed to be Kojima's last Metal Gear Solid game.
Every game was supposed to be Kojima's last.
Well, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
I think
he wanted to make Metal Gear Solid.
He wanted to make Metal Gear Solid, and he wanted to make Metal Gear Solid 2.
But that was it.
He wanted it to end with 2. The original ending was 2.
So this one, great game.
But Kojima was like, all right, we're done. And if you think about it, 2 is still like the ending per se, because 3 is like a prequel here.
Yeah, 3's a prequel, and I think even that, like, after credits, sometimes after credits, not even sometimes, that sets up the sequel, that sets up the next movie.
Yeah.
I think those after credits were just to kind of solidify Ocelot into, like, being the shifty guy. It wasn't even more so, like...
Yeah, it wasn't really setting him up in 4, because, I mean, in a way, we'll explain
but, like,
things later.
Even with those
4.
after credits, you could just say it ends here. Ocelot shifty. Everyone was shifty. That's it. Like, this game could just nice little bow is wrapped up. And if you go from this game back to Metal Gear 2, you can be like, oh, okay, he's angry. Like,
yeah, that's you can see like the progression, but the fans wanted more,
the fans wanted more,
and they got more.
They got quite a bit. Maybe we should kind of detail that trajectory from like him wanting it to end at 2 and then all the way up to 5. Maybe we can have a 201 kind of, because you were there for all of it.
Oh yeah,
and
I was there in real time.
the message boards, everything.
Yeah,
so
it was a wild and crazy time.
But I think, like, honestly, 3 is a lot of people's favorite. When people think of Metal Gear Solid, I think of this game. I think it's between 2 and 3. 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are like the heavy hitters, because like 2 has like the big meta narrative, and 3 I feel is like a good all rounder.
And I think like that one's kind of more of a gut punch. I think in terms of just like character building and story. Like 2, like you said, it's more so philosophical. It's very Kingdom Hearts-esque, changing your
Yeah, it changes the brain chemistry.
But this was a fantastic game. I really appreciated you. Like, we played it again. I feel like a few weeks ago you got through it. We were able to kind of experience it again, and it's been a long journey to discuss everything. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'm glad it's over.
And we get to discuss some wonderful things. We have some wonderful 201s in store. The next episode might be our greatest episode yet.
Oh, for sure. We've researched so much about this particular character.
We're going to do a 201 of one of the most sought after, most mysterious people in all of Metal Gear canon. And you will find out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so tune in and let us know your thoughts. But this is the last episode of 2024. We're ending it quite beautifully with this.
It's like a little bow.
That was my goal, and I thought this was going to be a short episode, and of course not.
No.
And we might have crammed stuff, we might have whatever, but I wanted to start the new year off fresh. I wanted to have the 201s, I wanted to go in.
You want to put a bow on it.
I wanted to put a bow on it, and I think maybe it's worth doing some 201s on other, like, the older games, like the games that we've covered thus far, to like kind of like dig in deep, and we could talk about it.
Yeah.
But any lasting words for 2024, even though we're going to see everybody in 2 weeks?
I'm just once again very grateful. I appreciate everybody who tunes in and leaves a comment and has like a suggestion or words of encouragement, words of criticism. I just like the engagement. So I'm just happy that everybody's here, and I'm happy that you're all tuning in. How about yourself?
Honestly, I couldn't say anything better. I'm just grateful people listen and reach out. As always, it just helps us know that people are listening. It's a sounding board for us. And we look forward to just providing more fun little episodes. We got some fun little things in store. We're, planning and plotting, as always. But thank you all for listening. And as always, this is a pleasure. This is fun. I'm not one for like 2025 goals, but I will say I just want to keep doing what we're doing. Just keep full-assing all our little projects.
Never half-ass.
Never half-ass.
Full-ass.
Do your best. That's all you can do.
All right, okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.